What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Tim Sports Talk, and we are on to the next AFC North team. We did the Browns, now we are doing the Pittsburgh Steelers. And as usual, let's take a look at their roster. So they were coming off an 11-5 season last year, or 12-4, I believe, actually, and I think that's going to come down. I really do, okay? And, well, they brought Ben Roethlisberger around for one more crack at it. I think he's probably going to retire after this season, and especially once we look at their offensive line. They did draft Najee Harris. Love that pick. I think this dude could be the next Derrick Henry. The dude is huge, massive, and fast. Like, the combination is just like Derrick Henry. They're both coming from Alabama. They got a good one out of the first round. I don't like first-round running backs, but Najee Harris is a monster. Then they have a decent receiving core here. Juju, Chase Claypool, and Deontay Johnson. All really talented dudes. But, man, did they have the case of the drops last year. I hope they're all catching 500 balls a day and just get in front of that machine and just catch passes, especially Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson's a funny one to me. He's got so much talent. He's so quick. He's not the biggest guy, but just so quick. But, man, if he could just learn to catch the ball, because this guy has talent through the roof. He kind of seems ditzy out there. Like, he doesn't know what's going on always. But, man, he is super talented. Eric Ebron, I think, is going to become tight end number 2 to Pat Freiermuth coming out of Penn State. Dude, they talk about him as being Gronk 2.0. I don't think he's quite going to ever live up to that name, but I think he's really talented. And Eric Ebron just never seems to be able to get it together. Former first-round pick, but I think Pat Freiermuth. But either way, I think they have a decent tight end duo, which is going to be – they're going to need it because their offensive line is – I don't think it's arguable. I think they are the worst offensive line in the league. Seriously. If you go to PFF, not a single one of them rates higher than 66, and their right guard specifically rated like a 34. Another weird thing about this team is they don't have a single lineman drafted higher than the 3rd round. And yeah, you could find good linemen later in the draft. I'm not saying that every single lineman comes from the 1st and 2nd round, but a lot of them do, okay? A lot of linemen come from early rounds, especially tackles. Why? Because you can't miss them when you turn on the film. They're huge, right? You can't. If you are a person who watches film, you understand what the offensive line is supposed to do, and you can see how big they are, how massive they are, and how talented they are pretty easily, right? It's not the most rocket science thing in the world. Now, of course, things happen. I'm not saying it's 100%, but a lot of linemen come out of the 1st and 2nd round, and they don't have a single one over 3rd. I think it's an indictment. And then the PFF grades match it. This offensive line is going to struggle, and that sucks for Big Ben, who's an aging vet, who doesn't have a lot of mobility, who is known for throughout his career being able to break tackles in the backfield. But it doesn't get easier the older you get, and he's like 38 now or something like that. They're going to have to I don't know what they're going to do because they let all their linemen go. You know, Villanueva and company. I mean, Pouncey, I think, retired. Like, all their linemen are gone, and I don't even know why they drafted Najee Harris. They needed to attack the offensive line. I think they should have gone 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Offensive line, completely revamp it, but that's just me. Najee Harris is a beast, but I think they're already in rebuild mode, and in that case, why even bring back Ben Roethlisberger? On to their defense, and their defense is not going to be quite as good as they were last season, but I think they still are a very talented defense. They lost Bud Dupree, which once Bud Dupree went down, the production of that defense went down. They went 11-0 with him, then he went down, and they ended up going 1-4 in their last 5 games, and then also lost in decisive fashion to the Browns in the playoff game. But Stephen Tuitt, not bad. He is 70 overall, or 77, I believe, overall PFF, so not a bad replacement for a Bud Dupree, but not the same. TJ Watt, absolute monster. Love Cameron Hayward inside. Devin Bush also got hurt last year. That definitely hurt the defense, quote-unquote. So getting him back healthy will be very important. I like Robert Spillane as another linebacker there. I think he also had some injury problems. The defense took a bunch of hits. I think getting a lot of those guys back will definitely help. And then Minkah Fitzpatrick, the safety they got from Miami, completely worth the 1st-round pick. I think this dude is super talented. Love Minkah Fitzpatrick coming from Alabama. Joe Hayden, the Browns corner they received, is probably their number one corner. They're not the best corner group around, but I think they have the front seven good enough to help out those corners. And the defense should be solid again. And that's what we're going to take into the schedule breakdown here. Let's go ahead with the record prediction. I think they're going to start off 0-1 against the Buffalo Bills. They're obviously a really strong team. They've added some stuff to their defense. 0-1. They're going to beat the Raiders. Oh, and before we get too deep in this, the Steelers have the toughest, tied for the toughest between them and the Raiders of the toughest schedule in the league, okay? And that's going to also affect their overall performance as far as an overall record. But I have them splitting with the Bengals, division rivalry. They're going to get Joe Burrow back. They got Jamar Chase. They're still an interesting team. They're still growing. I don't think the Bengals are going to have a great year, but they also have a lot of talent. I think they're going to upset the Steelers in one of their two matchups. I'll go ahead and give the Steelers the first one because they're at home, so that's going to move them to 2-1. I think they lose to the Packers. That puts them at 2-2. I have them beating the Broncos. It's going to be a tough game. I think the Broncos are going to be a tough out, but they are at home. I'm going to take the Steelers against the Broncos, so that puts them at 3-2. I have them losing to the Seahawks, 3-3. I have them splitting with the Browns, division rival, but Browns are super, super good. Wouldn't be surprised if the Browns sweep them, but I'll give the Browns the first win because they're at Cleveland, so that puts them at 3-4. The Bears, I have them beating the Bears. Even with Justin Fields, I don't think they're going to quite have enough to beat the Steelers, so that's going to be 4-4. I think the Lions are terrible, so that's 5-4 for the Steelers. I'm going to have them beating Justin Herbert and the Chargers. I just don't think that they're strong where the Steelers are weak, and I don't think the Chargers are going to beat them. But I'm not going to count the Chargers out. That's still a point flip game to me, but I'm going to take the Steelers here. I have them, as I said, splitting with the Bengals, so I'll give the Bengals the win at home. Then I have them splitting with the Ravens, so I'll take the Ravens win at home. Then I have them beating the Vikings with Minnesota. I think it'll be a good game, but I don't know. We'll see. The Vikings have a couple of holes, but they also are really talented, but I'm going to have them beating the Vikings. They're going to lose to Tennessee, lose to the Chiefs, beat the Browns at home, and then lose to the Ravens on the road, and that would put the Steelers down to a 9-8 record, down from 12-4 last year. And honestly, it could easily turn into 7-10, 8-9 if they lose a couple of these close ones, like the Chargers, like I talked about, like Denver, and then also the Vikings are very losable games for the Steelers. But for now, my record prediction is going to be 9-8, but you guys let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Also in the description below, there's a Discord link. Hop in our Discord and come talk some football. And last but not least, there are donation links in the description below. If you feel so kind, you could donate to the channel. Steelers, man. They need to be in rebuild mode. And the most concerning thing is definitely that offensive line. That offensive line is horrific. 32 out of 32 in my mind. But, hey, until next time. See ya!